What a bummer.
I
What a
want this.
bummer. There's so much gold already.
Yeah. Yeah. I heard you when you said you want, you want to be more generous. Like, this is what I heard you say. You want to be more generous about your discoveries and to share them with people so they can experiment too. And I noticed my fear about this call, where this is the purpose of the call, to harvest the gold, the experiments from the Joy Club and the Joy research that we have been doing so that it can be shared. And specifically the first experiment I get and is to add it to the website. And I noticed, even as I was looking forward to being here with you, this part of me that, like, it doesn't remember what I discovered. And mm, and I feel glad, because this slowing down that I've started doing, I'm making time to write. I'm making time to do things, to share things that, in a way, with the next words that come, like I used to. And there's a way that somehow I started to hold in what I was discovering. And I get it takes this authentic joy to share discoveries in a way where it's like I feel joy. I learned this and I want to share it so you have possibilities, which is distinct from I figured out this cool thing and I want you to know about it, because then you'll know I'm cool and you'll think I'm cool and maybe I'll make more money. And I've been scared of coming off like that. So I haven't been doing experiments really.
Yeah, this is really where we started with Joy Club. This noticing there is too much or an inherent superiority in joy
Yeah.
on the old landscape, on the old thought map of joy.
I notice how I've even started having questions about how it goes with, there's this distinction that there are generally two categories of boxes. One is an I'm okay box, and one is an I'm not okay box. And it's so clear to me that I have a I'm not okay box. And I've been orienting towards starting to have an I'm okay box. And there are times when I'm like, I am okay right now. I really am okay with having a not okay box and having a gap where it's not about being okay or not okay. It's about being here and now and alive and going with my impulses. And when I don't have impulses, I don't have impulses. And I'm not pressuring myself to have impulses. I'm not telling myself I'm doing it wrong. And that's taken a lot to take the wrong making out and the right making out. And then there's times when my gremlins, like, they're coming from their I'm okay box. They're like, yeah. And I also have this resistance to what some people call this like arrogant, dignified woman. And it's partly, it's like, I don't want to, I don't want to be so cutting, because especially when it comes to, especially when it comes to a man, it particularly Cody, and other men and another woman, my sense is like they can take the sharpness that they can take. And if I come with more sharpness than that, I will lose them. The bridge will be burnt, and they will not have ears to hear or eyes to see anything from me. Even stuff that would be so empowering and useful. They just put up a wall. And this authentic joy that I've started to more and more experience, I find this when I feel glad about something and I'm not pushing it on somebody else like you should feel glad about this too. Somehow it seems like there's more coming to me. As if the inauthentic joy that I used to go with pushed things away, and the authentic joy, even at these low intensities, draws things in. And then it's as if my job then is to not create a fantasy out of that.
Out of the drawing in.
Yeah. Like when someone draws in and comes close, and then it's so fast, my gremlin's like, oh, if this person wants you and likes you, then maybe they'll want to do this with you, and maybe they'll want to do this with, and maybe and it builds out this whole fantasy of, then I will have the eco village I want. Mm-hmm. And this practice of coming back to a small here and now, slowing down, like really waiting for authentic impulses, dropping my tension down my grounding cord, and letting the fertilizer essence from Gaia, it's like a trade we're making constantly, or not constantly, but when I remember to make it, it's like, here, I'll give you this tension, and I'll, it's like this trust happening that then this essence, this Gaian essence will come into me, and I will, and that when it's in me, when it empowers this identity shift, this ego state shift into, I am a woman of earth. I am Gaia. I am her mouthpiece. I am her hands. I am her wanting in action. And it's not like there's not superiority in it. It, it's like, and so are you. And how's that going for you to be that? Is it going how you and her want it to be going? Or are you kind of at odds with being here on planet Earth right here, right now? And as a person with an I'm not okay box, I have lived experience of how it can get when a person is so at odds with being here on planet Earth and being Gaian that they would want to leave because of how painful it is that this is the culture, the modern culture, patriarchal hierarchy, colonial capitalism culture just doesn't work for really for Gaian human beings. And I when I look at people who are they seem so authentically turned on by being part of the system of systems of colonial capitalist corporate kill off life on planet Earth. And then when I also see edge workers who are so driven, I I used to be I used to compare myself to these driven edge workers and possibilitators and compare myself and assume I was doing something wrong, that I wasn't there yet somehow. And it's as if I've, for the last 6 years, I've been building my red brain. And then I just got to a part where it's like, I'm more of a yellow and blue brained and green brained human. And
And,
I don't want to make myself wrong for not being more red brained.
and what I sense is that when you speak of that opening, you're not wrong for the way your brain, the way your system works. When you step out of your not okay box, then there is a authentic joy.
Yeah, it's so subtle. And when it's just me, it's very subtle. And when
Mm.
I'm with someone else who holds space for conscious feeling, it's like then there's room. There's room for it to be bigger than my personal space, my personal body, my personal cells.
Yeah, we discovered this when there is no joy available, then the possibility is high I'm reactive or in my box.
Yeah.
And it might be something never before consciously noticed because it's so subtle to be consciously joyful. Not in the okay box, not in the not okay box. Connected to Gaia.
Yeah, and I have these questions like, my sense is that the something about this shift from the old map where joy's the good feeling, anger, sadness, and fear are the bad feelings, onto the map where all four feelings are neutral resources for energy and information, the emotions for healing things, the feelings for handling things. And there's this way that on the old map, I I had this. I can go onto the old map on purpose and notice how scared I am to feel anger, sadness, fear, and joy. How angry I am to feel, for me, fear and joy mostly. And on the new map, how I feel angry to not feel. And then I want to feel. And most, I feel still on this shift, I felt so much fear to feel joy, to be seen as joyful, because I was scared that what happened in the past when I felt authentically joyful would happen again, which is I got taken down. I got attacked. I got swarmed at school. Like there all these projections and assumptions were made and I became the enemy for for having this radiance of joy. And so like it's so understandable that then my fear to feel joy and to really bring my being forward and to be radiant would be scarier than coming with a sword. And I can feel glad about my clarity and my integrity. I still feel a lot of fear about if I use my sword and it cuts someone in a way that then they're just like in the red zone, out. And and the resentment is so high because there's this expectation that as a skilled trained space holder that I would not cut people. And I feel so scared of creating resentment in other people because I know the consequences of having resentment. The revenges can be so subtle. And the most subtle revenge and the most consequential revenge that I've ever done is you don't get to have me. I withdraw all the deliciousness of my being, my archetypal lineage. I withdraw them from you. And this is how I survived modern culture. Was that, oh yeah, the radiance of my being, you're gonna take me down for having that? Well, I expected that you would be so glad to meet the radiance of my being. You would want me on your teams, that you would want me by your side, that you would want to create with me. And you didn't, and you don't seem to have any capacity for that. And I'm speaking to like my mother growing up, the girls at my school. And then I end up with this also that is replayed in the context of studying and learning possibility management. And in that context, it's more like, oh, when my gremlin shows up, you can't be like, awesome, Nicole's gremlin has shown up. What wisdom does it have for us? I can hold space for that. When it's been like, you know, no gremlins allowed. And I'm like, and I don't want to be in revenge about how trainers and trainers can't hold space or don't want to have to handle my gremlin, as if my gremlins my lack of competence in handling my gremlin and navigating with my gremlin becomes what they're taking me revenge on me for. And that's not the story I want to live in. And I feel glad because I have like enough evidence from reality that taking a step away from possibility management, the kind of field and the core and the infinity ring, and coming out in the toroidal field, like and planting even more deeply the game world I'm here to originate. And as that's coinciding with bringing my being forward with this authentic joy as part of the fuel for doing that, against the fear that this is where my experiment, my practice, dropping the old patriarchal fear comes from. It's like, just don't want to hold this radiance. I don't want to hold my being back anymore. And all I can do is drop the tension and radically trust that then, with the tension dropped and the essence of Gaia filling my personal bubble, that my being will just take up the space that it wants to take up. And, and I create that by wanting to drop the tension. And then these things come toward me, and these people make offers that these coincidences really happen. And this is where that question comes from. It's like, how much of it is echo and how much of it is my gremlin? Like, as I, in a way, take revenge on the infinity ring of possibility management, echo is still working with me and giving me coincidences, which is not what I expected. Thought the more my gremlin was active, the more I was cutting off echo's interest in me. And I have this fear to even say this and share this. Like, it's almost if it's saying like, it's okay to let your gremlin be vengeful. And that's not what I'm saying. I think what I am saying is that what I'm discovering is that it's all so much bigger than me. And you know, so many people, when Ingrid died and before she died, talked about how she had said to them, "You can do no wrong." And I would think, oh yeah, I can do wrong. I've done wrong. Like, I have done wrong. And she told me when I visited her for the last time, she told me that she had learned in the days before our visit, she had learned an even deeper level of forgiveness for herself, for what she had not been able to do and what she had done while she was doing while she was not able to do other things. And I love this. I love this. I don't remember where I got it exactly, but this new map of radical responsibility, where it goes, I can do what I can do, and I can't do what I can't do. And them too. They can do what they can do, they can't do what they cannot do. And here we are. Now what? And I was able to awkwardly, inelegantly, like get that, essentially I was told, we're scared to have you in the year-long space holder training because you're gremlin. And my gremlin was like, that one thing I did, are you fucking serious? And yet I was like, yeah, that one thing I did, I let you do, precipitated this conversation. And I have no resistance to leaving the year-long space holder training. And I said things that weren't authentic to say about it. Because underneath, I had this, they can do what they can do, they can't do what they can't do. I can't join the year-long space holder training because I don't want to. I want to do something else. Oh, okay, this is where we are. And I'm like, what else am I going to go on than that? That's what's most real. And I, in the last few days, as I've been navigating with this and kind of sometimes looking at it and going, really? I'm like, really? And then sometimes I get ahead of myself. I'm like, oh, I'm getting much more, I'm much faster at catching that. Even as I say it, I'm like, am I doing it now? Just let me check.
Go.
And I've not experienced myself as so grounded and centered at the same time. It really gives me this experience of even though my physical body is like my feet touch the surface of Gaia, my energetic body is more like a funnel that comes up and out of Gaia. It's like it's like a whirlwind shape. It's like, it's rooted in the surface of Gaia. It's like goes and it goes down, down, down. My grounding cord is more like the, I don't know if you've ever seen those whirlwinds when they're on water. There's just a really long, 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 and then there's a funnel, and
Yeah.
it's like, and it doesn't seem very big at all. Like what I am is not very big. It's kind of relative to the size of other humans. It's about the same as anyone else. And yeah, I get a lot more I'm more curious than I've ever been about other people. Like, what are you about? What is really going on with you? What do you want? Is what part of you wants that? Is it what you really want? And like seeing little changes in their kind of weather on their face. It's like, whoa, what was that? What happened just then? And just this, like, are you here to collaborate and create with me? Do you think? No pressure to answer. If you get a yes, will you let me know, like, what you think is up about that? Because I am looking for, I, the thing that's most clear in me is I am here to be a part of creating a network, a global network of Gaian ecovillages. And they each have their own culture within this new culture. And maybe, maybe the Gaian ecovillages that Clinton and Sophia Vegle uh, originate will be more red, and maybe the village that I originate will be more blue, green, yellow. And maybe it'll go through cycles of okay, now we're using our anger more. now I don't know how it goes. And I've
Mm.
experienced some things about how it goes, like just how the evolution of individual to uh, two individuals making a team to three individuals making a team to five individuals making a team to eight to, and for me it's just Fibonacci. It's like I love Fibonacci. I see it everywhere. And I've been in this game of like 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and crash. Okay, now I'm a lone wolf again. Oh, here's someone. Okay, what about the third one? And now I'm doing a few coincidental experiments with to create this little game world with these two other people, which is something I wanted to bring to you because we had this impulse about the EHP dojo to hold
Mhm.
space together for a weekly EHP dojo. And I just saw that Jorge Pedret is also, he started an EHP dojo where he's the only one. And I was like, Jorge, what are you doing? Like, really? You're going to just single handedly hold space for a weekly EHP dojo when you could have a team? I was like, what about you team up with me and Michael? And I was like, oh, I didn't check with Michael. I mean, I'm checking with you now. And then it's not like this. For me, it's all about how do I quit it with the pressure.
Mm.
And one of the ways is if I make a commitment to a weekly space, that I have two other people on my team in case one day I don't want to go. Or, there's still two other people holding a space like that. And it's not because I want to give myself a back door. It's because I want it not to be pressured.
Yeah.
And I will take the rest of that conversation somewhere else than this call space.
Mm.
And
So
I want to kind of go back to this joy research, discoveries, and experiments.
I, I, the way I heard you, you never left that space.
Okay. Wow. Thank you.
I have 1.5 pages of research on how to drop pressure, to come into the now, to be okay with waves of creation and togetherness, which are valuable distinctions about joy. There's different. It's very different. Like you said, that one thing that it's very different from feeling joy alone than having a held space. So it's also different from standing there on my own right before right before the snow melts and I become that flower. I'm the seed. I'm alone down there. There might be other seeds in a hand grab away, but I'm just there doing this thing just because I like it. And
Yeah.
then I drop out of the snow. The snow melts, and I drop out of the grass. And then there's whoa, look, hey, there's another one. And then the whole Fibonacci goes, and it's way different joy experience, and that's a part to be noticed on that I want to have on the homepage. That there are different experiences of joy, and that it takes some choice to make space for joy, and then to be brave enough to bring joy so far outwards, because it's really scary to have my passion all the way out at the edge of my boundary of my bubble, to let people feel, hey, I'm turned on about that, and to have enough of the you know matrix or healing done to know it's not school anymore.
Yeah.
it's okay to be radiantly happy,
Yeah,
joyful.
so similar to like when I was mostly working with anger and clarity in my sword, to have my fear about not how it went for me to use my sword, but how it would land for the other person. So scanning for their for where they're at, like for how they are, so that this sword swipe actually doesn't cut into them. It goes close enough that they're like, they have this wake up thing. There's enough fear that there's a wake up thing, but not so much fear and then anger and sadness that they then are like, their gremlin gets turned on, is like, ha, they are, they're bad, they're wrong, they hurt me, they damaged me. And it's different from when I get close and then they're like, whoa, and they want to start projecting their mother on me. And I can still be with them and be like, I am not your mother. And I can be glad that their gremlins come out. They're not, their gremlins not doing this like secret thing where they're like, they've changed their mind about me, but they're pretending everything's okay because that's their reactivity happening. That's how they're cloaking themselves to get away from the actual danger. And I've done that. I've seen it play out in so many different ways. And to also have my fear about how much radiance I put out, like it's like calibrating my joy so that it doesn't start turning on the person's comparison mechanisms. And if it turns them on just enough that they're like, you know what, like they start doing this fawning thing where they're like, oh my God, you're so amazing. And I've learned so much from you. And they're kind of like this, then I can be like, whoa, 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 wait. I want to be sisters with you. I don't want this. I'm on a tower or a pedestal and you're on the ground bowing your head. Like, please don't do this. I have made massive mistakes. And I want you to have the benefit of my mistakes. And this was one of them. This is one of the biggest mistakes I made over and over. I was in the pattern of you're better than me and I will bow down to you. And I will try to make you like me and want me. And then I will hate you when you let me down.
Yeah, not letting the gremlin, my gremlin, eat my joy
Yeah.
with, making somebody else joyous, but
Mm.
owning it's okay for me to feel joy because I've just been through an amazing joy club that I co-created with an amazing space holders. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I co-created. I did that.
Yeah.
And it's not about you wanting my joy. I feel joy and you feel joy. Hmm.
Yeah. And the joy, it's like, this is where this, when I'm centered and grounded and this joy is happening and I'm letting it happen and I'm turning it up, then it's like the thing to do is to want other people to have access to the possibilities, to the experiments, to the gold. It's like this is where that authentic generosity comes from.
Hmm.
And I notice it especially in my relating with Cody when when I'm just so ecstatic about what we've been able to create together, what I've been able to source in our relational space. And instead of being like, ha, we win, we're great, it's more like, oh my God, I want other people to have the experiments that I used. I want them to have teammates like I had. I want them to have, also, I want them to have a chance to make their own mistakes so that they can get really to the pain that brings alive this commitment to try something completely different, or different enough that they would get other results.
Yeah.
And there's some people who have come to me and they've said, I want this thing, but I seem to not be committed enough. And I'm like, it sounds like you're making that a problem, that you're not committed enough to wanting this transformation. And they're like, well, I mean, it is a problem. And I was like, what if it's not a problem? What if you just haven't got to the intensity of pain yet about how you've been doing things? Because if you're like, oh, those people say that there's this transformation possible and I should want it, that's just another way of pressuring yourself, adapting. It's like, it seems noble. I get it seems noble. And sometimes I catch myself on that. I'll catch myself, being like, oh, the sunshine of this morning, and oh, I'm alive, and I did all this writing this morning, and there's a chocolate croissant waiting for me in the kitchen, and tea in the cupboard, and there's a war going on out there, Nicole. Like, I was so I took on so many elements. I built so many elements into my box of be a good girl who saves others, who cares about others, who puts her life on hold for others. And this has been a huge, yeah, this has been one of my practices too. And I'm like heartbreakingly grateful to a man in Kenya who had reached out to me around the same time I started studying possibility management. And he's really in this, you know, people from the first world, white people, save us with your money. And I'm like, no matter how much money I have, it used to be that if I had some extra, I would send it. And then I could feel good about myself that I was, helping this man. And more I got that the his he's so much in survival, and he's so numb. Even when his heart breaks, he's committed to becoming functional again so that he can work on the farm. And I get it. I get it. It's so reasonable. And to sense for my yes and no when he asks me for money now, rather than just looking for the reasonable yes or no that comes from how much money I have in my bank account, is it's so my good girl box is like, and my gremlin is like, you're letting these people die. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm letting them die. I i'm letting them I'm letting him have more space to choose aliveness or numbness. And I don't even know what Echo will do with what he chooses.
Hmm.
There's torrential rain there right now, and floods, and people and cars and cows being swept away because the drainage system that they had in place last year got so clogged up when there were torrential rains and floods last year. They haven't been, that mess was not cleaned up all the way. So now it's worse this year than it was last year. And he's saying, these floods are coming our way. And I'm like this old reactivity is like, I have to do something that's the right thing, that's the good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And all I had was, I know that he has Christian thoughtware, and I made this prayer, this wish, like, may you experience the presence of God, whatever happens. And I can use the word God. I don't have resistance to that. And it's so much bigger than whatever I ever experienced as God as a Christian girl. It's really this combination of Gaia below me, my archetypal lineage coming through me, and the Earth's coincidence control office breaking coincidences. And when I'm orienting myself, I hit this kind of sweet spot where I might be breaking down, I might be radiantly rolling or flying. It's still, the sweet spot is like got a quality to it that, yeah, it's not, the evidence is not what's happening. The evidence is if I'm here and now and feeling and radically relying on these other contributing factors that I collaborate with as an alive human being, or that I don't collaborate with. And that's my choice. And it's certainly not a choice that I can make only with my mind. I've got to be sensitive. I've got to have access to my emotional body, my energetic body, my physical body. I've got to be able to feel this meat suit.
Yeah.
And I need to be as out of my mental body as I can be. The more thoughts going on up here, the more is in the way somehow.
With joy, because that was a very clear prerequisite list of how to feel conscious joy, or how to feel radically relying, first position,
Yeah.
connection, like opened to something greater, like echo, like resources pouring through.
Experiment that is most with me still from the Joy Club was the one about feeling 3 minutes, turning up joy for 3 minutes and noticing how that was, and then doing the anger, fear, sadness, and then joy again. And just noticing how it went differently after all the other three feelings, like going through the the feelings spiral and back to joy.
Yeah.
And I
Mm-hmm.
got this, in a way I got, that's it. That's the trip. That's the evolutionary spiral into higher levels of responsibility. In a way, it's the learning spiral. It's like, wow, yay, I'm competent. Oh no, I'm not competent about this. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Okay. Create, experiment, and then be like, woohoo, I built competence. And then boot into the next thing. And the more smoothly I can do that, the more competence I can be building
Mm-hmm.
as I go more smoothly around. It reminds me a little bit of the map with the three people falling. You know, they're trying to hold on, they're trying to stop themselves from falling, but eventually they're just like, oh, this is how it goes. And they can be sitting there just falling, or they can be like have their hands pointed down and they're flying.
Yeah.
And I often get that sensation when I go so cleanly into first position with dropping the patriarchal fear. And then my feeling of fear is just free flowing through my nervous system. And it often gives me the sensation that even if I'm sitting, I'm flying. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I
There's
first
something
caught
about
it.
the
Go.
go.
I first caught it when I was in a car and someone was driving faster than my box was like would drive. And I didn't want to ask them to slow down, partly because I was scared that they would just slow down for a bit and then speed up again, and then I would be in this loop with them. And so I did the experiment of just dropping my fear and really radically relying on the Earth's Coincidence Control Office that if I died, I died. If I was in a car accident and I was hurt,
Mhm.
that's what would happen. If we made it to the destination, great. You know, it's like, okay, it's like, really, this, my life is in your hands. And and then I started to experience myself inside the car, flying along the road as if the car wasn't the reason I was flying. It was like I was flying because I was choosing to fly, not because the guy was driving fast. And so I was, hurtling along at great speeds.
You were flying because you chose to fly.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I get this how spaceship Earth really is hurtling along at great speeds, maybe toward human extinction, maybe toward massive devastation by nuclear bombs. And I can use my fear about that to tense and to try to control things, try to keep myself safe, try to save other people. Or I can drop my fear into Gaia and let myself fly with Gaia, with her, as her.
Yeah.
And Michael, there've been these amazing proposals come my way the last few days. There's there's a man who lives near here who I love. I've got to know him just a little bit, but I see him. He goes to a lot of the same spaces I go to, and it turns out he's a vet. And I don't know, my box hates pets and is like, you know what? They're such energy drains. So this man has been a vet. So he makes money looking after the animals that other people imprison themselves in with, and I'm not saying it's wrong or bad. I actually, in a way, I have some pets right now. And so he has a lot of money because vets get paid a lot of money. And he decided to buy some land. Like, I think it's 100 acres. And it's quite a ways away. He didn't even go there. He just bought it. And it's got a house and a shop. And he said, not to me, he said to Cody, this is where I want to be able to go when or if the shit hits the fan. And he invited Cody, he's hiring Cody to do some work on. Cody's a builder and he's a natural builder. So he's really freaking genius at finding high quality material and doing high quality work without it costing a lot. And so this man has hired Cody, and Cody's inviting me to come with him. And he's bringing a team of 2 other, probably, or 3 maybe, apprentices. And he invited me to come. And then all of a sudden, this Fibonacci thing happened where I was like, let's practice villaging. And I had to be like, okay, don't turn this into a fantasy.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, I will be practicing villaging using the tools and distinctions and maps that I have, not by trying to make them have them. I don't even know if it will happen. And yeah, I'm like, it's like I've said, Gaia, I will do this. Let the Earth Coincidence Control Office work it out. And if I don't get what I want, it won't be the first time. And this could be it. Like this, it could be it. It might not be it. And I mean like the actual seed of the eco village that would be my live-in experiment.
Dropping the tension, letting Gaia take up space, allowing the resources to come through and being a yes.
Yeah,
like being a yes.
Being clear what I am a yes for. Because I can pretend to be a yes. I can say yes to something that's like 53% intensity yes. And I've got all this other no, actually. This is my resistance. And if I don't use my resistance to inform where I'm navigating, it goes how it goes. And it's not bad. It's not wrong. It doesn't go badly. It doesn't go the wrong. I'm not making a wrong choice. There's just consequences to choosing without having checked in really with my own resistance. Now, I ended up at a meeting a couple of days ago where I almost fell asleep. And I was like, I had a yes to go, but I didn't check the intensity of it. And now here I am and it's boring. And then I thought, I was like, oh, am I making that wrong? Okay, take the wrong making out. I was still glad to be there.
Yeah.
And I don't know what will happen. I've been going to those meetings now for almost 2 years. And I feel scared to say, I've decided to step out of this group. It's the climate active cell in this church that I've been going to with my mother. And I love especially one of the men who's part of it. He's just so, his enthusiasm and his appreciation of me are really obvious. And I think that other people in the group, they also have enthusiasm and appreciation of what I bring, but they're not so expressive about it. And in a way, that's part of my resistance to being there, is there's this headiness.
I just heard you speak to like a part yes and a part no. And it landed in me as having a yes and a portion of no for navigating. And I never heard it that way. To be a yes, and yet there is still energy, there is still resistance, there is still information, there is still clarity on navigating ongoingly, like being a yes and navigating.
Yeah. This is the internal resistance decision making.
Yeah.
And if I don't have space to be like, oh, what's the resistance? Like like will I go to, shall we go? Shall I bring the zoo to this meeting? And it's so easy to be like, you know, yes, as the, and to miss that there's like for resistance.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, okay, what's the wisdom of the resistance, so that I can be like, oh, we'll go to this meeting and, or, oh, we won't go to this meeting
Mhm.
and here's the communication I'll make, or here's what I'll do instead, or
There is also a yes that is part of the resistance. If I have a 8 resistance, I still have a 2 yes.
yeah.
Mm. Mm.
And if I have, like a 6, if I have a 5 resistance and a 5 yes, then I can still choose the experiment. Well, I'm going to go and see what happens, because the resistance, I might be wrong about, it might be a projection or an assumption I'm making.
Yeah.
It might come from a projection or an assumption. So I'll do the experiment of going and see what Echo does with that. I mean, when I went to the meeting the other day, I got some really amazing tips and hints that I can apply all kinds of ways.
Mhm.
There's this, one of them, Miguel, there's this organization that exists called the Order of the Good Death. And it's all about evolving the evolving human relating with death and dying and
Mm.
dead bodies, and the grieving process, and laws about what kind of burials are allowed and what kind of cremations are allowed. Cremate means fire decomposing of the body, and there's aquamation, which is water decomposing the body. And water decomposing the body has way less environmental impact than fire burning the body. And yet it's not allowed in a lot of places, just because it's the attitude is like, okay, burning a body is good, but letting a body rot in water is bad.
Mm.
Like being consumed by fire is you're being good to the dead person, whereas letting their physical remains be consumed by water, it's somehow disrespectful. And it's like, I get it, and I see how it's like mental construct.
Hmm.
And this order of the good death, they bring all kinds of, they use all kinds of, they experiment, and it's so glorious to behold.
Thank you for letting your resources, thank you for letting me witness your resources speaking. I'm, I feel like having gone through a roller coaster because there is so much speaking through you, so much wisdom from so different winds, directions coming. And I love being hit by your oracle. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you for letting me know how it is for you to have been hearing.
And I notice my energy is going down. I have
Yeah.
a meeting in 20 more minutes, so I want to go outside into the dusk. And
Perfect. Yeah, let's end here, and I will do the process with the recording and share it in the group,
mm,
and then yeah, there's something about the practical. Do you need anything about putting the harvest, the experiments onto the website?
I, I, while you were speaking, like my everything kind of poured in the parts of the experiments we did. So it was really, it was not just witnessing you, it was really like also my everything become coming online. And I have even two more pages written down. So I will begin putting everything on the website, and when I'm done, I will let you read over it, and then you can give me yes and no resistance.
Okay. How about too, when you go into that workspace, will you let me know? I might join you in it and do other work that I need to do, but then we can
Hmm.
be together in real time and
Yay.
have
Yes, I would
have
love
like more
that.
possibility in the space.
Yes, I would love to have you also like maybe also doing your work. It could be a co-working or co-creation or whatever space.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
like
I
that.
find this is really useful for me to be in co-work spaces, even if it's parallel work, but especially if it's like you're doing work I care about, you're doing I'm doing work you care about it, and we can report, and it creates possibility.
Hmm. Yeah. Yes, I want that. I will let you know in advance.
Okay. And even if there is no notice, if you're like, wow, suddenly it's like, oh, I have time to do it, and
Hmm.
I I feel a bit scared in case then it becomes an expectation that it will go like this. Uh, you know, it might not. I might not make it. And I'll do the same if I start opening up a workspace. I'll let you know in case it happens to be in case Echo is with us about timing.
And I'm really curious about EHB dojoism. Yeah. Yeah, I'm turned on by the creating healing spaces on regular basis. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm yeah, to be honest to myself, I have this resistance of how do I invite people into this very weird hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I want to experiment with that. Like uh, this I wrote down this thing you said, I want to learn the words that land in human hearts. And this is very much my I want this too, especially when it comes to yeah, inviting people to experiment with this very weird hobby.
Yeah.
Yay, it's just a hobby. Oh, okay. Anything else before we say goodbye?
I heard you say that Ingrid died.
Yeah.
So she really died.
Yeah, she really did on Friday.
Last Friday?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Mm. Yeah, you didn't know that she died.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know. Hmm.
Is there anything you want about any of it?
I just wanted to know. I reached out to her a month ago, and because I had this fear, I felt fear, and I didn't get a response, and I just wanted to know.
Yeah. I want you to know that she was unable to handle the volume of communications as of about December. So she really started only engaging in certain communications. And yeah, I'm learning that a lot of people had made communications and not got the communication that she wouldn't be communicating. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it wasn't about having an answer.
Yeah,
It was just about knowing where she is now.
that I can't tell you. Apart from here.
It's so amazing. I know I had maybe 3 spaces with Ingrid.
Doesn't
And
take much,
yet
but it's an angel.
I my being in somehow is so connected to her, or was to her, to this form of her being here.
Yeah.
And somehow I'm so touched by, knowing that she made this transition now. I don't know. There are millions of people dying every day, and with her, I care.
Hear you that you care about her, make that she made that transition and that you know about it.
Yeah.
I I highly recommend if you haven't already to friend request her on Facebook and become her friend. Her personal Facebook profile will be shifting into a legacy space where
Mm.
videos, recordings of her singing, of her anti videos, of her articles, of stories about her, pictures from her life will be will be shared, and anyone who's a friend will get to see that. And it won't be so often, but that'll be the space where it's shared. And
I
I feel
celebrate.
super glad and grateful because I offered to I offered to be the one who would initiate this. It's called Ingrid's Angel Legacy Project. And she said yes. So she's entrusted me with the back end of her Facebook profile. And I have a team. There's this team of people who've known her from all different parts of her life, and will be creating these posts probably once a month.
Ingrid's Angel Legacy Project. Go. I will. I'm friends with Ingrid on Facebook,
Oh, yay.
and I love this using Facebook this way. It's a totally new purpose for Facebook
Yeah.
to celebrate the legacy of beings, angels.
Yeah, I was really relieved when she said she wanted me to do it this way. It's like it's so simple and it's so, yeah, it's a whole new way of using Facebook. I mean, I don't know if Facebook will still exist when I die, but I love that my profile could be turned into a continued sharing of whatever gold came to the world through me.
Yeah. Bye bye for now.
Bye for now.